Hello? There we go. Sorry, everybody.
Just kidding, guys.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Sorry for that little mix-up. I am comedian Vincent Didiano, and this is POVincent here on the River's Edge Network. We're here to talk movies. Here's my compatriot, Eric Williams. Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Other than that choppy waters, it was almost like we were fighting off people during a hurricane. We'll get to that later. Did you see the geese? Did you see the army, the gaggle of geese earlier?
What? Where?
By the waterworks.
Oh!
Like, I almost hit geese crossing the street. I was like, use the crosswalk.
You see, the movie theater we went to, I used to work there, so I don't notice the geese. That's like asking, did you notice the parking lot to me? Because I worked there for so many years, it's just like, oh, I just got to drive around.
Yeah, they have this, I don't know why, like, is they're just like a Canadian... Canadian, what do you call it? Embargo. What's the place where that Julian Assange guy is hiding? An embassy, a Canadian embassy nearby, because they had a sign up that was like, "Don't feed the wildlife," and I was just like, "What? Is this like Christopher Robin's backyard? What's going on here?"
Anything can happen when you go to the movies.
I don't think that's true. You normally just watch a movie.
Don't you believe in movie magic, Brian? Eric, sorry.
Is this just going to turn into a conversation about how Last Action Hero is an amazing meta-critique of like Hollywood and the world?
We'll save that one for another episode because I have not watched that movie since the goddamn 90s. So I can't, but
get some popcorn and some pot ready. We not today. After I pass my drug test.
Right. But anyway, guys. We're going to go over some movie news, some interesting stuff, involving Stanley Kubrick, all the way to the Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer. In our middle section today, we're going to talk about the 48-hour film project here that happens in Pittsburgh every year, something that both I and Eric have had experience with. And finally, we're going to give you our movie review of The Equalizer 2, starring Denzel Washington and directed by Antoine Fuqua.
Not only that, we're going to briefly explain the Bektel Test. I know you're like, we're watching movies. We don't want to. It's okay. Last week we discussed the ScarJo casting. This week we will discuss the Bektel Test. We will just cover things because some people are just like, I want to go watch movies and I want to be entertained, and those are people that normally have the movies directly appeal to them, and some people in our society are like, there aren't really movies that appeal to me, and at different times on the show we will cover certain sociological aspects that might explain this. And some people will be like, whatever, and we'll be like, oh, this is where you use the bathroom. Come back when we review The Equalizer 2.
Holy shit. Anyway, guys, we'll get all to that. First, we got to talk about a legend in film.
That's right.
Yes, we got to talk about Stanley Kubrick.
Bam!
Exactly.
Look at that forehead.
This man is famous for such classic films as 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, and he the last movie of his that we saw, which we're going to get into, was AI, which some people were like, wait, that wasn't a Kubrick film. Technically, it kind of was. But why we're talking about Kubrick today is that apparently, according to an article on TheGuardian.com, a lost screenplay by director Stanley Kubrick has been discovered, and it is so close to completion that it could be developed by filmmakers. So we could get another Kubrick film so many years after his passing.
I feel like people who saw AI might be opposed to this.
That's what I want to get into. So here's the backstory behind the movie AI. If you don't remember, AI was a movie starring Haley Joel Osment back when I don't know if he was still relevant.
Does it turn out that he sees dead people? Is that
no?
The
no? It turns out that
he's a robot.
He's a robot. It was a movie about a husband and wife. Their kid is in some kind of coma from some rare disease, and the husband's like, my wife is depressed all the time. I don't know what to do. And he buys a robot child that he just... It's literally, so right off the bat, we're getting into, I guess, slavery territory with that movie.
I mean, it's better than, hey, I brought a robot second girlfriend so we can have a weird cyborg polyamorous relationship. Slightly better than that.
Yeah, and we're not far away from that kind of reality either. But anyway, so the movie involves Haley Joel Osment, and he's such a perfect copy of a human. He actually has real emotions, but he's still a robot, so people feel awkward around him, because he's still a natural, and all these horrible things happen. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to go into a review of the movie, but all I'll say is I remember seeing it as a kid. not liking it. And I wasn't the only one. The movie didn't do too well, despite the fact that it was directed by a friend of Stanley Kubrick, a man you may have heard about. He only made a few movies. Steven Spielberg.
Didn't he do the one about the shark, and then I don't know what he did after that?
I don't know, something.
Just kind of got lost in Hollywood.
Yeah,
you know, like some adult film starlet. Yeah,
something about some theme park. I don't know, on some island in, I don't know, the Caribbean. I don't know. But yeah, so Steven Spielberg directed that movie, because Kubrick thought this was going to be like his big masterpiece or something. He had been working on the script for years. Unfortunately, he passed away before he got to make the film. And Spielberg was like, I got to do this for my friend, right? And that was genuine. He genuinely was trying to keep the movie as close to how Kubrick wrote it, despite the fact that there were people on the project who told him, like, Steven, we should probably change this here. Most people, the big problem that people have with the movie is the ending, which, I think the ending hurts it a lot. I mean, the rest of the movie has problems too, but the ending is a big issue. But he tried to stay close to it to do justice to what his friend's vision was. And the funny thing about it, apparently, like, part of the inspiration going into the script was Kubrick was not only Spielberg's friend, he was a fan of Spielberg's work and how he does movies and that kind of whimsical aspect that Spielberg brings to his film. Kubrick was kind of admired a bit because he's not that kind of director. So he tried. It's weird. It was a Kubrick movie with some Spielberg inspirations in there, directed by Steven Spielberg, and yet it just didn't turn out well. So hopefully this movie...
It sounds like it might have been one of those things where, like, two people are trying to, like, please the other or imitate each other too much instead of just following themselves.
Yeah. The entitled Burning Secret, the script is an adaptation of the 1913 novella by Viennese writer Stefan Zweig. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In Kubrick's adaptation of a story of adultery and passion set in a spa resort, a suave and predatory man befriends a 10-year-old boy, using him to seduce the child's married mother. Okay, so right off the bat, this sounds like a very fucked up version of Call Me By Your Name. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know Call Me By Your Name. I just really hope that if they make this script, the casting director doesn't cast Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise.
Let's stay away from that. But anyway, so here's hoping that this movie will turn out very well. I mean, I'm not saying... Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. Who knows? But if it does, hey, it's just Stanley Kubrick once again making his mark. And then this time, a whole new generation, because, there's a lot of people growing up who've never seen his films. But anyway, we're going to move on to that. From that to...
We're not even going to touch on Minority Report, which is a movie that was not at all based on a Stanley Kubrick script, but, like, felt more like a Kubrick movie than a Spielberg movie. And also, like, couldn't figure out entirely where to end. I don't know. That one didn't do well. I really liked it, but then again, Philip K. Dick was married to my great aunt. My great aunt was my great aunt Ann Dick, who passed away, I believe, this past year. I never personally met her, but she was kind of a big deal. She had an obituary in the New York Times, and I have met her daughter, who is my aunt once removed or something. Hattie, absolutely fabulous. She is not the daughter of Philip K. Dick. Okay. She is the daughter of a second marriage, but she's absolutely wonderful. But it's so one of those, like, I went with my another cousin to see it, and I largely just remember that was the first time that I realized, wow, I have a fucked up sense of humor, which we'll get to later in our review of The Equalizer 2, because I was thinking as we watched that, wow, I have a fucked up sense of humor.
He was laughing at certain parts of that movie. I was like,
and I also thought, I am an awful person to watch movies with. Like, I felt really bad for you, Vince. I don't know. You've seen Minority Report, right?
I saw it years ago, so I'm a little blank.
Okay, so
I remember the plot of the movie. Yeah, I remember.
There's these, like, psychics, and they can predict murder. So no one ever, like, commits murder, because if you're gonna commit murder, this red murder ball pops out, and then, like, this super police force led by Tom Cruise goes and they stops you. Like, what happens is Tom Cruise is a drug addict, and Colin Farrell is, like, this cop in internal affairs, and he figures out that Tom Cruise is a drug addict. And then what happens is a red murder ball pops up with Tom Cruise's name on it. And he sees this ball, but no one else knows about it. And he is trying to like get out of the police station as Colin Farrell is coming to confront him about the drug addiction. And so what happens is this beautiful like Abbott and Costello type scene where they meet in the elevator, and like Colin Farrell's like, I know all about it. And Tom Cruise is like, how could you know about it? He's like, I've been investigating you. And what happens is Tom Cruise pulls a gun on Colin Farrell, and Colin Farrell's just like, you moron! You're not gonna shoot me. If you were gonna shoot me, that would be murder. And then a red murder ball would pop up, and then the alarms would be blaring. And right at that moment, the alarms start blaring, and his eyes just go, oh, shit! We're in a loaded movie theater on like opening weekend, and I just let rip my Eric Williams thunder guffaw. No one else in the theater is laughing, and I'm acting like it's a Mitch Hedberg Comedy Central special.
There's a bunch of people in that theater going, what is fucking Jagoff laughing at? Colin Farrell's a wonderful actor. Don't laugh at that. But anyway, God damn it, Eric. Let's move on to the next subject. The next subject is increase in movie prices going on right now. According to an article on Variety.com, average ticket price in North America rose to $9.38 in the second quarter of 2018, according to the National Association of Theater Owners. The number is a 22-cent uptick from 2018's first quarter average of $9.16 and a 43-cent bump compared to the same period in 2017. Now, this is not now. Anybody who's watching that may live in like New York or L.A. We understand that your ticket prices are way higher than that.
I mean, also their cigarette packs are like $1,000.
Yes. Don't smoke, kids. You'll get poor. But anyway, so yeah, but this is all based on national average prices. So this is like a national deal. And apparently, why this is going on, and apparently not people, like I guess not as many people are complaining, is just because there's been so many big blockbusters this year, just movies raking in the cash. Avengers: Infinity War, Incredibles 2, also Deadpool 2, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, even though that movie wasn't that good.
Time out. You're saying that the fifth movie in a series wasn't very good?
No, it was nothing like Friday the 13th Part 5. Not that.
You mean it doesn't turn out at the end that the killer isn't actually dinosaurs? I think you just randomly picked one. I don't know. Do you realize which movie Friday the 13th Part 5 is?
Wait, that was the one. Was that the one where he?
That's the one where Jason isn't the killer.
Oh, that's the one where it was like the dad of the kid who gets killed in the first half hour, right?
Yeah, it's just like some dude running around in a Jason mask.
Right.
Like,
that's the one where that's at the psychiatric place, right?
May or may not be the psychiatric place.
Well, it's a troubled kids area, right?
I'm not sure. I know that involves it brings back Tommy from the fourth movie, who's played by Corey Feldman, and at this point he is older. And they think it's Jason the entire movie, like someone is killing people, and then at the end they like kill him, and the mask comes off, and it's not Jason. And the final girl who's there. Well, what happens at the very end is like Tommy goes to the mirror and he puts on the mask, and it was supposed to transition into Tommy
being the new killer, and then
but people hated it. They hated it like it was Jay Leno coming back to host his 9 o'clock show. Then what happened was Friday the 13th Part 6 is Friday the 13th Part 6, They Live. How do I know all this? Wikipedia is a thing now, guys. Yeah. So is Insomnia.
Yeah, that was the thing with like the Friday the 13th franchise and the Halloween franchise. There were times where they tried to change the killer, and they were just like, or they were going to like that. And remember, in the Halloween franchise, eventually it was supposed to be an anthology, but the third one didn't do well, so they brought back Michael, and then they were going to try to switch the killer to Michael's like niece, but then the studio was like, no, Michael makes money, make it Michael again, and then they did the same thing with Jason, because in the next movie it's once again Tommy's back, once again a different actor, and this time he's like, I'm gonna kill Jason for good, even though he's already dead. Like, I didn't get that. He digs up Jason's body to like burn it, but he digs it up and then he like has a temper tantrum and he impales it with like a metal rod, and lightning shoots it, and then Jason's back, and that's when just everything went super. But anyway,
I think actually my favorite one in that series might have been Jason X, aka Space Jason.
Exactly. If you were gonna say Jason Does New York, I was gonna be so fucking.
No. I think it's Jason Takes Manhattan is actually.
Yes, you are. You have corrected me.
But
correctly.
no, Jason X is actually a lot of fun, and they it makes sense because he's frozen. Like they have their like, hey, this guy's super dangerous, and we have him like cryogenically frozen. But then like the ship they're on in space, like the professor's being one of his students, and like they cause it to like melt down because they're having really hot sex or something. I don't know. Right. That movie has one of my favorite jokes. I know I'm way off track. I need to reel us back in instead of talking about the scene in a holodeck where Jason comes across two co-eds in bikinis.
Yeah. And they're like, Let's have sex and do drugs, right?
And then it pans to something else, like the character's off trying not to die, and then they're like, because
premarital sex.
Because the coach are like, is there anything fun you can think of doing with us? And it comes back to Jason, and he just has this sleeping bag, and he's just whack, whack, whack.
And the girls are in the sleeping bag, and they're just like, yeah.
But they're holograms. Like, they're not even, anyways.
Yeah.
Ticket prices.
Yeah. Though he should have gone metal Jason much earlier, because that's how all the trailers showed it. Like, he goes metal earlier in the movie, and they did it. They saved that for the last 20 minutes, and that pissed me off.
So you're telling me that the average price of tickets is now like the same price as like a monthly subscription to Ticketline or whatever that thing is called? Movie Pass.
I don't know.
Does Movie Pass still exist? Have they gone bankrupt yet?
No, I think it's still out there. They're gonna go, but they'll go bankrupt sooner or later.
Yeah, give it a month.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our last one. Something that is near and dear to me, if you cannot guess, from the shirt that is upon my body. I'm
You like the color black?
No, God damn it! I am a Godzilla fan. Behold my Godzilla shirt. Yes. So finally, we got a teaser trailer for the next Godzilla movie, Godzilla.
I'm not gonna lie.
King of the Monsters.
Looking at that poster, Godzilla looks way different than I remember.
He slimmed down a bit. Now, what you see up here is young actor Millie Bobby Brown, which most people would probably know for playing Eleven on Stranger Things, which was like her breakout role. And kudos to her because she was great in that show. She was good in season 2. I didn't like everything they did with her character in season 2, but season 2 was still enjoyable. So yeah, she's one of the actors in the new movie, and they released a teaser trailer that was only about 43 seconds long, focused on her, where she's in some kind of office or underground bunker. I'm gonna go with bunker, and she's trying to get a hold of somebody like on an old radio, and she's moving dials, and she's like clicking on the microphone. It's like, can anyone hear me? I need help. And she's just getting static, and nothing. And all of a sudden, something starts to come through. She starts to hear screaming and like, help, oh God, and like the screaming and terror. And you see her you kind of see right here in our picture, for those of you who are watching on the live stream, for those of you who will be listening up on the podcast, you can see she's sitting in a chair and she's got this horrible, terrified look, and she's scooting up into the fetal position, and in the trailer she's just covering her ears now, because she can't stand the screaming and the horrible sounds coming over the radio, which is an awesome transition. Because at first she's just trying to get any sound. She's trying to hear anybody coming through on this fucking radio, and then she gets the exact opposite of what she wants. And it's great. And she really, this 43-second little teaser trailer, she really does it well. You see the terror on her face. You see the body shaking. You see her starting to cry. I love this young actress. Can I say actress anymore? I feel like, is that politically correct anymore? Fuck political correctness.
Did you ask a straight white guy if that was politically correct?
I don't know who to ask anymore. Our world is so different than what it was before. But anyway, yeah. So this little teaser trailer got me excited because this is the new Godzilla, the new American Godzilla franchise. We had the other movie in 2014, which. It was okay. It wasn't horrible. Some of the problems with the film were that I'm sure anybody who may have heard about it or even seen it, you're now going to say, not enough Godzilla in the movie. They treated him like he was a side character in his own film. If you're going to do a Godzilla movie, here's how you do it. You use the human characters to progress a story, all that stuff. You let the human characters do what they do. But when it comes to the action scenes, let Godzilla have his action moments. And he didn't. They kept turning away to go to other stuff that's happening. I
would actually love to see a Godzilla movie where there's just a whole planet of Godzilla. They've got a Godzilla society. Godzilla has a family and kids, and he goes to work, and then one day a giant human comes out of the water, starts fucking shit up.
There's a Rick and Morty episode yet to be. It's Godzilla World, Morty. You can't believe it. I can't even go there. The radiation is just off the charts. Even their shit's radioactive, Morty. Their shit.
Oh, jeez, Rick. I think I stepped in some of it. I hope I don't have cancer now.
Oh, shit. But anyway.
I never should have started smoking these $1,000 packs of cigarettes.
Morty, I told you not to go in my closet. Damn it. Anyway. Yeah, so that movie was okay. But I was still down for a sequel after it. And then they did Kong Skull Island, which only came out a year and a half ago. That movie was a lot of fun. It was more.
I heard.
Yeah, it was more fun than the 2014 Godzilla. However, its big fault was its two main characters, played by Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson. They were so bland and boring. Thankfully, the movie had Sam Jackson in it, and he brought it up. And
who else? Who else was in there?
God,
Who else?
I can see his face in my mind. What's his name? Oh,
you
Eric.
can't remember fucking Dewey Cox? John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly. Oh, John C. Reilly. He was my favorite character in the movie because he plays this. They meet him. He's this crazy guy who's been stuck on the island for years, and he's like crazy and goofy. But then he starts to talk about who he is, and you get to know him and about his family. And it's like, oh, you feel so sympathetic for him. And he has a little badass moment later with a samurai sword. It was great. I'm just like, Sam Jackson and John C. Reilly saved that fucking film.
I love John C. Reilly because he's like the reverse Jim Carrey. No, like Jim Carrey was like, I'm a comedian. Oh, now I'm famous. Now I can do these serious roles. Like, John C. Reilly was an established, serious actor. Like, he was in The River Wild and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, I remember that movie. Yeah. I've seen that movie several times. I like The River Wild.
And then in, like, the early thousands, I think maybe between like 01 and 03, he was in Magnolia, which was a sprawling drama by Paul Anderson, but not Wes Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
So have you seen Magnolia?
I have not. I've heard about it.
So it's sprawling. It follows like 11 different characters. William H. Macy is in there, and the lady who Julianne Moore, lady who replaced Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling in.
Yeah.
But the high point is John C. Reilly playing a cop, where in the intro, like, it's him in his police car, like, talking about being a cop, and then finally, you're like, okay, cool, he's like, like, someone's interviewing him, and then it, like, pans over, and he's not in the car with anyone. And then he ends up, like, showing up, because there's, like, some report, and he shows up to this lady's house, who's, like, a coke addict, and he falls for her and can't figure out that he's a coke addict, like that she's a coke addict. He is hysterical in that, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it just ends up, and like after that, he was just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to do comedy roles. I'm pretty good at that.
Because he was a working actor. He was working in Hollywood for years. He was also in that Drew Barrymore film.
He's in New York.
What's that Drew Barrymore film where she's like goes
Never Been Kissed?
Yes, one where she goes back to high school. He's in that. He like plays the editor.
But that is a rom-com, but still, you're right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he started doing comedies and he got famous. Of course, working with Will Ferrell on Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. But yeah, no, he's
the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah, but he's an actor that people forget. The dude's got range. You can put him in some stuff. I mean, he's a good actor, man. I love him. So anyway, Godzilla, I'm excited for Godzilla King of the Monsters, and the next movie after that is going to be Godzilla versus King Kong, or King Kong versus Godzilla. I don't know which version of the title.
Won't it depend like on which movie it's which country the movie's airing in?
Well, it's going to be an American film, which is an American Godzilla, but King Kong is classically the American kaiju. You know what? We ain't got time.
Why is King Kong American anyway? Like they don't get him from a country that's like under American rule, do they?
Eric, we have a lot of shit that we don't come from this country, man. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying history has some pointers. So basically,
King Kong is American imperialism. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, that's about the tip top. It's like, you're a king, you belong to us now. But anyway, we're going to talk about the 48-hour film project now.
We are.
Yes. I'll talk briefly about my experience. My experience was about several years back. I was working with friends of mine, Sarani and Dustin, hey, if either of you guys are watching, how you doing, guys? And they were like, this, I'd worked with some other stuff before, and like, we're doing this 48-hour film project thing. Would you want to be on top, get in on this with us? And I was like, yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. I remember like we were given a list of possible like genres or categories we could get, because like you would the year I did, I don't know how it worked on your year, but like they were like, okay, here are the possible genres, and then like the night before you're gonna give like, okay, which category you have to make did. So they had me be one of several writers to come up with story ideas, and like each one of us was like, okay, we tried to come up with like a few different story ideas, each one try to make it a multi-genre one, so we can like fit it in however. We got together. We all started sharing our stories. I can't remember what our category was. I think it was like supernatural or fantasy, something like that. And I came up with one of the ideas I had because I wanted to go a little more comedic, being who I am.
What? A comedian?
Yeah.
Wanted to go comedic? No.
My story.
No. Shocking.
My story idea was basically meet the parents, except the family.
That's been done, right?
I know.
Except the family.
Yeah, the family
is aliens.
No, fairies. They were a family of fairies, and we had all the actors get like fairy wings on. The dad was like he worked at a pixie stick factory. That was his job, and he was like he had a tie and a suit, but we had him wear a tutu to like push the fairy motif. And the daughter brings home her new boyfriend, who was a were-dog. It was supposed to be a werewolf at first, but people were like, let's go with a dog. A dog would be a little fun. I'm like, okay. And God, I remember, and it was fun and grueling at the same time, because like you get one day basically to shoot the whole thing, let alone come up with like a cohesive script. Which my script was basically, I had the idea in my head and we just kind of worked it out, because it wasn't we worked out the script as quickly as possible. The funny thing was, one of the other guys actually had a really great story idea that I fully admitted was like, hey, that's great. It's kind of it. Yeah, it's kind of better than mine, but we didn't have enough time to do that story, let alone have like the location set. Because my story is just we went to Sarah's house because we just like to meet the parents. They come over for dinner and stuff, and it was great. And the short ends because like the dad is just not giving the boyfriend any credit. He's just like, no, you're not dating my daughter. He just keeps giving more and more shit. And the movie ends with the were-dog boyfriend finding out the dad sells like I can't remember what we said. It was like fairy crack or something to like an abominable snowman or something, and he catches him and he just basically blackmails him like, basically, let me date your daughter or I'm gonna fucking tell everybody. And after writing, my jobs were, one, I was the duster, because there's a scene where like the were-dog boyfriend gets angry and he kind of like growls a bit, and then the fairy family gets real nervous, and I'm standing behind one of the actors, and I'm making his wings shake to show that he's nervous. So I was like the wing jerker.
You were the wing fluffer.
Yeah. And there was another scene where like, because they're getting nervous, like this like fairy dust like pops out of nowhere, and I'm literally just laying on the ground with like a folded piece of paper and just like glitter, and I just like up in the air, and it got in my fucking mouth and my eyes, and I was the guy in the fucking Yeti suit at the end, and. No joke, this happened while we were filming. Like, I got, like, praised by the other people on the set for my Yeti work, because I'm in this fucking Yeti costume, and I'm making Yeti noises, like, and somebody was like, was that you making the noises, or did we have this? Somebody thought that was like a sound effect machine. It was like, no, that was me. I was like, dude, that was really good. And
I think I saw that film.
I probably shared it on my
No, I might have been in the viewing for that. I've been involved with a few. Okay,
yeah. So let's get to you now, because we got to get to you.
I'm going to cover a few things as quickly as possible. Right. So Dustin Dowling, who you mentioned you worked with,
Dustin's great.
He and Alex Shapila do the you like this series? Absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend that.
On the Pitts YouTube channel. Go check that out.
Yep. I have worked multiple times with Falling October Productions. Alexander Cronin, Jared Juice, Lindsay Etter, Chauncey James. They do excellent work. There's a number of other people. So the way the 48-hour film project works, for those of you that don't know, teams sign up. It costs an admission fee, but like you sign up ahead of time for the Halloween, because they do a
that's right, yes.
horror one in October as well. and they capped that at 20. I don't think they capped the regular one. Anyways, everyone signs up, and then the team captains meet at a location at 6 o'clock on Friday that's pre-decided, and what happens is everyone picks a genre. And I think you have a choice of, if they've changed it a few times. It used to be if you didn't want your genre, you could then pick a wild card, and whatever that wild card was, you had to do. Now I think they might have switched it so you have like you pick one and you have an option of two. Like it'll be like mystery or western. But so you pick a genre, and then after everyone has picked their genre, they reveal a line of dialogue, a character, and a prop. All of which have to be used in your film. Okay. And part of what you're graded on, like the overall like quality of the film, but part of what you're graded on is how you utilize those films. And we got runner-up a few years ago for the horror for our film Inner Demons, which was
oh yeah, you showed that one to me. That was cool.
That one is about a guy who is possessed by a demon, and he misconstrues an advertisement for Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, "Come get rid of your inner demons." And we ended up winning Best Director for that, Best Use of Prop, because so what happened that year, the line of come on. The character was a mechanic. The line of dialogue was, "That's one way to make your point," and the prop was a paintbrush. Everyone, with the exception of the team that did a cannibal film and used a paintbrush to baste the human being that was cooked, everyone else painted with the paintbrush. Have you ever been to a group therapy meeting or anything where they have like a talking item? You're like, after spending enough time with you, I'll probably have to.
I just kept laughing during the movie over and over.
Okay, so if you go to like group therapy and stuff, sometimes they'll have like, this is the talking item. You can only talk if you're holding this item. So I was like, guys, why don't we do that and we just make the paintbrush the talking item? Great idea. And then so I end up getting murdered with the paintbrush because I'm talking while I'm not holding it. Which causes someone to say, well, I guess that's one way to make your point. Inner Demons, it's on YouTube. I would highly recommend it again. And actually this weekend, aren't you, last week you hosted a show and you failed to like tell us about it on the podcast. Don't you have a show that you're going to be on in August?
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Gabinessa's show at the Brillo Box over there in the Bloomfield area. I'm just going to be doing probably about a 10-minute set, and I'm excited. I haven't gotten to work with Gab yet. We've had a few friends who have worked with her. Zach Funk, our good friend Zach Funk, has worked with her before on their shows.
She's been doing stuff for years. She runs shows that are highly touted. And that's what, Tuesday, August 13th, I think?
I believe that's the date. I've been so busy with some other shit that I'm just like, I'm just like so focused on what I'm getting done now. But
I think it's Tuesday, August 14th.
Yeah, it could be. Look, guys, look it up. It's out there. Look up Gab. She's got a Facebook. She's got a YouTube channel. She's a really cool person and a talented comedian.
So this weekend, everyone, like 2 weekends ago, the 48-hour film project happened, and this weekend at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont, tomorrow night, Friday at 7:30, or if you're watching this in the morning, it would be today, but Friday at 7:30 and then Saturday at 7:30, they're doing the two different screenings because there's enough people that there's two different groups. Tickets are $10 or like 11 something if you get it on brownpapertickets.com. It is a bunch of local Pittsburgh filmmakers. Everyone has 48 hours to do some of the films will not be films that took weeks to make. Like, sometimes, but some of them you'll be like, you guys did this in 48 hours? This is fucking amazing. Like, it's a really good time. It's fun. And also, they sell alcohol there. So, I myself,
Mr. Booze.
This Friday, tomorrow night, I'll be at the Parkway Theater. They do a regular show there at 9 o'clock, and then at 10:30, there is a Comedians Roundtable I will be taking part of, and then Saturday at 10 o'clock, actually in the theater, I'm doing a guest set on a show with Derek Knopfschneider, Joey Purse, Zach Siepley, and Kevin Bucky. And then Sunday, July 29th, I will be on a 2 o'clock show at Full Pint Wildside Pub. And August 1st will be the first Wednesday of the month, which means I will be hosting the monthly Brookline Community Open Mic at the Brookline Teen Outreach Center in Surprise, Brookline.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brookline's nice.
All right.
Kind of.
And with that, Vince, I said we were going to talk about the Bektel test. I'm just going to cover this real quickly. The Bektel test is a test you do for a film to see if there are two female characters who have a conversation that does not revolve around a man one of them is interested in.
Conversation with themselves. It's not like they're having separate conversation with.
Yeah, it has to be and the amount. Most movies do not pass this test. The Equalizer 2 doesn't pass this test. It was. There are plenty of good films, enjoyable films that do not pass this test because films tend to be written by guys and. Media in general tends to be oriented towards guys because they're generally the ones that were like, hey, you work jobs and stuff. That's what you need to do. Women, stay in the kitchen. You don't need to make money. Be oppressed and subservient. I got really political there.
You did.
Look, just take a feminist class your freshman year in college and you'll get everything that I just covered. Feminism 101 from a straight white guy who never took a course on it. But my girlfriend's really smart. So, The Equalizer 2. We just watched this movie,
Yes,
Vince.
we did. Sheena, if you're watching right now, I'm trying to keep this man under wraps. I'm trying. Anyway, Equalizer 2, where we get Denzel Washington returning as Robert McCall. If you didn't see the first one, basically, man working a simple job, older gentleman, Denzel. Crime is going up in his community, and when a young girl who's being used as a prostitute by the Russian mob abuses the hell out of her, he can no longer hold back, and he goes to right the wrongs in his city, and things just kind of flare up, and then he's got much bigger problems to take care of, and we learn over the course of this film this man's some kind of former military, former secret agent, something like that.
Ex-CIA.
Yeah, we'll say CIA, yeah.
It's definitely CIA.
I would hope they never say it. There's always a little bit like they indicate it is involved with the CIA, or maybe it was, I don't know. But anyway, the point is he can whoop your ass. In this one he's back and he's moved to a different city. He's no longer working the same job. He's working as a Lyft driver. And as a former Lyft driver, that was kind of cool for me to see that happen. And he's just doing his thing. The movie opens up with him already taking care of some business, seeing that because the last film ends with it indicating that he's basically be a one-man A-team. He's just going to look out for problems happening, try to help people where he can. But unlike the A-team, his bullets actually hit the bad guys. Not everybody watching is going to get that reference. But anyway, so yeah, he's going back. And once again, we have some other returning characters like actress Melissa Leo, who played Susan Plummer, one of his close friend that is the only one who knows he's still alive because everyone else thought he died and on mission. And she's actually the catalyst for the film as she is murdered by some kind of attackers, and that's what brings Denzel in, and he's going all out.
That's why I say that he's clearly a CIA agent because she is in the CIA, as is her partner, who was a former team member with Denzel Washington, where Denzel Washington was the team leader.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'll definitely give you a more CIA leaning. I guess I just wanted to be maybe a little bit more mysterious, but CIA agents are still
what they
badass.
really emphasize there is that like the CIA itself is like sketchy and mysterious because it turns out
let's not go into too many spoilers here, man. We gotta be careful about that.
No, you're absolutely right. So there's a number. There's some confusion. What instigates things is that it opens with a murder that Denzel Washington's friend. What was her name again?
The character's name is Susan.
That Susan is investigating, and the person that was murdered was a CIA agent that no one knew was a CIA agent.
Right.
People weren't, because he was like that secretly. He was like covered with a pillowcase, metaphorically.
Yeah.
It's not how they killed him.
All right. But anyway, so let's get into right off the bat. Let's just get into it. Denzel, goddamn! I mean, Denzel Washington has been a loved actor by the American people and just all over the world. He's an international star. The people love him. The critics love him. He's been won so many awards and just so
I said this
respected in
before.
Hollywood.
I'm going to say it again. Name a movie in which Denzel Washington was bad. Name me one. Like, there are movies that he was in that weren't great.
Yeah.
But he's never bad.
Right? Yeah. No. He's one of those actors that right off the bat, charismatic as hell. He's got that charisma. He pulls you in, and then he also puts passion and realism. He always makes the characters feel real.
He always shows up to work, and he always makes the characters distinct in some way. Because even though this character was similar to previous characters he's played, most specifically Man on Fire, there are clear differences, not just in the writing but in the way that he portrays those characters.
Yes, and he really pulls this character, Robert McCall. He's got a strong sense of right and wrong. And he cannot stand injustice. That's why he does what he does, because he cares about people. He's kind of got a Batman thing going on. Batman can be tough, mean, and brutal, but he does it because he cares about people, and that's the same thing with this character.
There are two clear things about this character. One of them is he has regret for some of the things that he has done.
Yes.
In the CIA. That definitely comes across. The other thing is, to me, his character is kind of the boogeyman for bad guys.
Yeah.
He's John Wickish in that sense.
Oh, you just stole it from me. Yeah. He's the other side to that coin.
I just killed your dog friend.
Oh. No. Mr. Wigglesbutt, no. I was struggling to get something out of it. But no. By the way, that would be a cool film, like Equalizer versus John Wick. That would be awesome. I mean, they're not really set in the same universe, but I'd fucking see it. I
feel like they would just be like, you want to just, get a cup of tea? Yeah, that'll be cool. You drink some tea, I'll walk this dog. No, because I watch these movies, because, I mean, they're a little bit tropey in that there's, this guy, a Spike Spiegel type character
from Cowboy Bebop, yeah,
someone who has a bloody history behind them and is trying to move on from that, and people won't let them. And I'm just just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Come on.
Don't do any bad things within a 50-mile radius of them, and just stay away from them.
Never kill a dog.
Yeah. That's a good advice. Never kill a dog, because you never know where Keanu is. You don't. You know where he is when he's not doing a movie? No, I don't fucking know.
For the record, that would be an amazing alternate ending to Old Yeller. I think you just broke some eardrums.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, Disney. Motherfuckers, get on that. I want to see that. John Wick and Old Yeller teaming up. Oh, goddamn. Anyway, yeah, so, the character's really great. The action in the movie's good. Really good. A lot of the is very, close up, so you see both characters, right? It makes it more intimate when you get close up. There's not not a whole lot of wide shots, except for maybe you count this one kind of the sniper scene in the movie where it's you're seeing far away, but even then when it goes back to snipers close up.
The cinematography was excellent.
Yeah, no, it was great. There's this one scene where he's fighting in a car, and just kind of this roundabout, almost like a reverse panorama shot where he's going, and just cool. And it probably took a little CGI to pull it off, but I liked it. It was really cool, and
thing that I really noticed was, with the exception of a little bit at the end, like, you could really see the evolution of, like, fight scenes in action movies since the Bourne Supremacy, where it was just like, let's do 12 cuts in 1 second. Yeah. Like, and this was less on the cut, a little bit at the end, but I think that's largely because of what was going on in the background. I feel like they had to use some CGI and whatnot. Yeah. And they had to cut, I think they had to cut a little bit more there to make it look realistic. Dude, I'm not going to reveal, but the final fight scene, there's some natural hazards going on around them.
And it's kind of like, and I can't say without spoiling, but it is symbolic in a way, or of what, what's really happening, what the bad guys like, or like, you're not just like, I don't want to say, but you're not just fighting a man right now. You're fighting the Saint, which we don't want to say because we're spoiling. But yeah, another thing I want to really credit the movie for is the pacing. This movie, the pacing is right on point. I never feel like it drags. I never feel like it's moving too quickly. And it really shows how well the pacing is done. There's one part of the movie, there's a good stretch of the film, like I want to say it felt like almost up to a half an hour, where there's no action. It's like somewhere at 20, 30 minutes where there's no action. It's where he's just kind of figuring out what's going on. And like there's no action. He doesn't stab anybody, doesn't shoot anybody, and it's just great. It's just once again well acted by Denzel Washington because the scene where he finds out his friend's been murdered, he hears about it, and like the camera starts zooming closer and closer on his face, and you could see like the devastation on his face. He's just like, what? And there was like a little bit of a shake on Denzel, like a little subtle shake. And
he walks off, and what actually happens is the young man who lives in his apartment, Miles, is kind of like, "You all right, Mr. McCall?" And he just doesn't say anything. He keeps walking. Miles was played by the lead from Moonlight, and he was absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, Moonlight. That was a really good film. He was. He played the middle version, the teenage version of the main character. Yeah, I almost didn't recognize him because he's so much skinnier in Moonlight, which was for the character. I didn't recognize, but good call on that, man. But anyway, so we're kind of running out of time here, so let's wrap this up. Eric.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pay the $9.62, or even if you're in New York, pay the $53 in your firstborn to go see it. Like,
don't forget the popcorn. But yeah, no,
they're in New York. They're probably a model. They're avoiding carbs.
But yeah, I liked the first Equalizer. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was enjoyable. I'm glad I saw it, and I think this one is much better than the first one. So credit to director Antoine Fuqua for giving us a great movie. I really enjoyed it because it's not just it's a revenge movie. It's an action movie. It's a drama. It's solid. Once again, Denzel Washington, he does great. He has this one scene with like the younger boy in it where like he's talking sense to him, and holy fuck, is it like just full blown Denzel on but yeah. Anyway, I was so happy we got to see it.
The last thing before we get out of here. So the thing is, as I said, Denzel, his character Robert McCall is just such a don't mess with this guy. And the thing is, he warns people. He's like,
he gives people a chance. Like,
he gives
chance.
people a chance. And so, like I said, that boogeyman, that menacingness, there's times where he's just like walking, and I would just laugh because I'm just like, he is Michael Myers, and you are a cheerleader trying to have sex. This is not going to work out for you. You don't even know it.
When they did the Halloween reboot, they should have just made a new mask out of Denzel Washington's face. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching the latest episode of POVincent. If you please check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the whole deal. And thank you, of course, always to the River's Edge Network for hosting us here. We really love this place. And check us out next week. New news, new movie review, all kinds of good stuff. Thank you for viewing things through our perspective. Take it easy, guys.
Woohoo!